something interesting about Backbone. I just learned this recently, and oops. I thought I knew everything about Backbone because I'm in it all the time, but this was different. So it turns out that if we put a log point in render, oops, and we got web replay on, we'll see that there are multiple calls to render for every new to-do. So here, we're creating a to-do, boom. We can see over here, this is the two we're creating. We're about to create A over here. There are two render calls. This is an interesting one too, right? Like we're creating tood. I only see one here, so that's different. Maybe I didn't fully grok this, but there's definitely two over here and two over here, and I kind of want to know why. And the nice thing with web replay is we can actually inspect each of them and get an idea. So if we go over here and we click on the first render, we'll see, yep, we are in the render call. That's where we set our log point, good. And we're here because we're creating the to-do, create on enters called, we're adding some attributes, and then in the call stack, we can see that we were creating the to-do, saving it, then going through local storage. Local storage, yeah, is minified, but it calls set. What's set? Set must be like on the model it's creating, it's a big function. And that triggers an event with the name change. So there's a change event, and that was the impetus for the render. We're creating the actual to-do model. Maybe not that interesting. What's the second one? The second render call, here we are in render. The second render also was originating from create on enter. Okay, that doesn't tell me much. If we jump up a bit, we're in add one. And it looks like here we are rendering the view right before we add it to the list. So that seems like a relevant place to log or debug, because if we want to know what the view looks like right before, or when it's in the list, well, we want to know what it did for the render right before it went to the list. And so the second one seems pretty good. So is that true for this other view over here? Well, I'll jump to the first render, and it's coming from create on enter, good. And in Backbone, we are saving the to-do, so yeah, local storage. So the first render is bad. The second render, is coming from add one right before we put the view into the list. So yeah, it looks like this is pretty consistent. For a lot of the to-dos that are being created, there are two renders. The first render is like a local storage thing, and the second render is the element that's being put into the list, which is the good one. So if we didn't have web replay, we could see that there are two renders, but it'd be hard to figure out which is which, because you need the call stack to really do that. And if we just paused in the debugger, we wouldn't know which one we're in, and it could be confusing to figure out what's legit and get to the bottom of it. And this is one thing I really like about web replay. We get both the full console history and the ability to inspect any one message as if we're paused there for the first time. Anyways, that is the mystery of the two renders. Hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.